What's brappin', my fellow Nitro heads? At the time of this video, it's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day to all. In this video, I'm gonna show you everything that I've done to this Redcat Tornado S30. Now, I'm not big on showing people my stuff or what I've done, but let's face it, I don't really run this thing no more. It's more of a shelf queen nowadays. But if you guys have these cars similar, like the Redcat Shockwave, the Tornado S30, the Exceed versions, the HSP versions, and you guys want to learn something, I'm fine with that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so what I've decided to do is start from the front clip and work my way back. So first thing we have is these Integy Piggyback Shocks. They work a lot better than stock. The stock shocks would just bounce all over the place, so they really weren't great. They would just bounce all over the place and not soak up anything. So these worked very well. The only thing is they didn't hold up too great. These didn't come stock. All these covers is they're just black balloons I just cut up. This is not a stock shock tower. What this is actually is a skid plate off of an ATV, and I just traced out the stock one and cut it out, and this worked perfectly. I kept on bending the stock one. I haven't bent a single one of these, so definitely try that out. Next up is these, I'll show you, is these wide aluminum Team Associated, what is that? That's a 8.5 mil hex. And I used that, the reason why I used these wider ones is to fit these wide tires. They're bigger and wider than stock. They are monster, what is that? 65 by 13 inch tires. Better than stock tires, you get more top end. This purple thing here, right there, is a purple Ackerman. What that's gonna do is it's going to take the flex out of your steering. I've noticed the stock steering had a lot of flex in it, so that fixes it. It's a 25 tooth clamping style aluminum servo horn. Works great. I had a 1258 Sabox in here once upon a time, but I kind of robbed that and used it for something else. So that's the stock steering. I have a stock steering and throttle servos out of the HPI Savage 25. So we have the SF1 and SF2. Another upgrade I did here. So I kept on popping these out because there was no screw, so I got a ball cup with a hole in it, put a screw and a nut on each side, so now it doesn't pop out. Another thing I've done is I've replaced the stock 2-speed transmission with the single-speed gearbox that usually comes in the 1/10 scale monster trucks. This is a lot better. I've noticed a lot more acceleration out of the hole, but the top end isn't there. So if you're into your acceleration, then definitely go with that. See, I've had lots of problems with the stock 2-speed gearbox. I've gone through lots. Look at this. Look at all the trains I've gone through. There's this one. In my experience, these steel spur gears don't even work. They're not even steel. I don't know what the hell these things are. They strip just as easy, as you can see. The clutches would go bad often if you run higher powered motors, as well as the shaft right here would bend, and the one-way bearing, I've destroyed multiple of those. They would just die. One thing I've done, this reminds me, see this hole right here? I've drilled that out because with the stock grub screw setup, I'd rather tighten them. Yes, there was thread lock on them, but what I've noticed was if you didn't tighten them up enough, of course they would slip, and if you tighten them too much, you couldn't get them off again. So what I've done is I've drilled this out and slid the cup on, and then I used one of the grub screws from the HBI Savage. See, it's a grub screw, and there's like a little end on it. So you tighten down the drive cup as well as this would go through the shaft. So there's going to be no slippage. And that worked awesome. I've done this to every single thing. I've done this to the outputs, to the diffs, to the tranny. As far as I know, by the way, there is no fix for bending drive shafts. Like, look at this one here. No, you probably can't see it. The fronts are bent though. I've also snapped the shafts. I probably have one right here. Oh yeah, look it. I used to snap these a lot, and the wheel would just go flying. But yeah, definitely recommend doing the single speed. Next we have a Go .20R engine. This was a really good engine. This was like, I'd like to say like $90 Canadian shipped to my door. Very, very good engine. It was way powerful than the stock SH engine. I'm not a big fan of SH engines. They all failed on me, really. The only SH engine I've had good luck with is the Dynamites. But anyway, this is a good engine. It's slightly bigger than stock, way more reliable. Well, as you can see, this is not the rotary carburetor. I put a slide on here. This is the stock carburetor for this engine, but I've made this car accept a slide carb. And as you can see, it does work. Take the filter off. It's a weird setup. I have a return spring here. Made my own linkage. This is like the only traction part I'd recommend, so here you go. It's the linkage set. That's what I used. I have the ball cup here. I have a spring that they give in the kit. This is the stock horn, and this is a stock attachment here. If you may notice, the stock horn had like a little lump right here. I cut it off. I used the shaft from the kit. I just cut it to length. So you can see, I repositioned the horn, and then the kit also came with this rod, threaded rod. So I cut it to size, and I bent it. This needs a fuel line. I kind of didn't put one on because I forgot, because I rebuilt this linkage a couple times. Then it has this like little adjuster. So yeah, this setup worked really, really well. Yeah, this is the upgraded Redcat air filter. I'd recommend this if you go with like one of these Go engines, because it does not work on the SH engine, because this engine has a bigger throat on the carburetor for this filter to grab. So if you're running the stock engine, don't run it, because it's going to pop off and you're going to get sand in your engine and it's going to be donezo. Oh, as well as I put a dual stage setup in it. Okay, I have a Team Associated 3-shoe flywheel in here. See, that's Team Associated flywheel with 3 stock HPI Savage clutch shoes with 1mm springs. I don't remember the teeth of the amount of teeth on the clutch bell. This is, I can't remember the type of pipe this is, but it was like $10. I port matched the header. Very good setup. The rear has the same shocks, but like I said, the shock itself didn't hold up, so I got just some random shocks, but I kept the reservoirs. Got the upgraded Redcat shock tower because I bent the stock one. But yeah, that's really all I've done. And of course I've like upkeeped it, like I've replaced all the parts. But yeah, and then the ones I thought were good enough I kept stock. But the ones I thought were bad, they have to go. I put all that stuff in. And I did the bearings a couple dozen times. I've had this car, I don't even remember. I've had this car for a long time. The car itself has lots of fuel through it. Like, the stock engine only lasted 3 gallons. And then I chunked it because it was garbage. I had a VX .18 in it. I ran about a gallon through that. That engine was good and reliable. About a gallon through that. I couldn't stand it because it was so doggy and slow. Then I got a Go .20 CXP. I ran that for a while. Loved that engine, but unfortunately, I snapped the crank. Here, I'll show you guys. That's an old block I cracked. Look at all the dust in this thing. Hang on. Yeah, snapped the crank. Just the end off. This engine had tons of fuel ran through. I ran this engine on everything. Helicopter fuel, airplane fuel, high percentage nitro, low percentage nitro. This engine has like gallons. Like, I'm trying to think. How many? I put like 8 gallons to this motor. 8 gallons. And I put 6 through this one. And this one still runs. It's been slightly ported by yours truly. Thing ran really good. So yeah, any further questions about what I've done to my Tornado? Let me know.